Apocalypse Gaming.
Hi guys, so it's day 2 of the Buildathon. That's me up, had my breakfast and starting on this baby again. So everything was dry overnight and all I've done so far is add a little bit of GW graveyard earth onto my modelling paste, which is dried solid now. So GW graveyard earth. I'll let that dry and then I'll add some washes and tufts. Whilst that's happening, I'm going to get some green paints and just tackle the roof to give it a mossier look on bits with a really heavily thinned down green shading. So whilst I'm waiting on the brown paint to dry, I went in with GW Narlock green, heavily thinned, it's almost water. And I've just added it to things like the roof sections and up the sides of the buildings in random splashes, but with a heavier random splashing round the bottom. Any ruins that I've ever been in, if they have with moss growing on them, which many of them do, they have seemed to have, from experience, have had it in the darker areas and near the bottoms of the structure as the moss sort of comes up out of the earth type feeling. So I've just tried to emulate that by keeping the random splashes heavier at the bottom and heavier in the darker areas. And then obviously there always seems to be some form of accumulation on the roof as well. Hopefully this camera is picking it up, the green tones. Once that's dry and my brown's dry, I'll go back in and I'll wash this. I'll then let my tufts get put on and then I think I can go for a final assembly. And then I can sort of possibly call that part done and move on to the next part of my construction for Buildathon. So I've tossed some Devlin mud just into there. Let that dry for a wee bit because I've been quite heavy with the wash. And then we'll take it from there. Well guys, I've now added Army Painter Highland Tufts to the planters just to give that dead weed or weed and dead flower idea that Dreadlun gave me, because I probably would have went something a lot more verdant and it would have destroyed the piece. So again, Dreadlun, thank you. So they've been added in. Now, before gluing together, I'm going to give it a coat of varnish. I'm going to use Purity Seal, so fingers crossed that this bugger seals. It's an almost dead can that I don't want to throw out because I'm too tight. So I'm going to use that for the inside bits. It's snowing outside, so I'm going to be doing it inside, but the wife's not in the living room, so it won't affect her asthma. The wee man's down in his bedroom. So I'm going to give it a quick blast to seal those bits so that I can get this thing glued together. So that's me joining these two sides together, but before I let that set, I'm also going to insert this in. But by putting my elastic bands on with the white glue, I'm going to exert pressure across these points, which will hopefully give everything a really good grab and hold all my sub-assemblies together. And the Purity Seal didn't kill the model. I was terrified I might have got a white frosting because the stuff can be horrid, but it worked cool. So that's the top section on. I'll let that dry up. I don't think I need to, but I might go in and give some more washes with the green for the moss effect, as I think it might be better being a little bit stronger at the bottom, but the roof I think is fine. And I'll see what it's like when that dries in an hour or so. Now I need to go and figure out what sort of size of base etc. I'm going to do for the rest of the theme for this. I'm drawing my inspiration from the necropolis in Glasgow. If you do a Google search for images of the necropolis in Glasgow, you'll see hopefully some of the sorts of crypts, mausoleums, grave markers that are absolutely massive and huge and were obviously put there by the rich and powerful of an era long dead. But I visited there a few times. In fact, I've got another story for you the day we were locked in there and couldn't get out, but that's a story for another day. but not good when you take your wheelchair bound wife and get locked in Glasgow's biggest graveyard. So that's it so far, and I shall let that dry, and I'll wait to plan, as I say, the next stage of my Buildathon, because that bit is largely complete.
Apocalypse Gaming.